Warriors, rise. Man, the hurricane is coming. But for 2.5 years, I've been telling you guys to get prepared, not to be scared, to hold the line, don't trip by the dip, and have diamond hands. My name is Coach JB. I am the top health, mindset, and crypto coach in the world. Now, why are our warriors so calm? Because we have a tribe that keeps their vibe very, very high. We teach you fundamental investing, long-term investing, and how to create a mindset will help you build generational wealth. So in www.3twarrior.com, we have a lot of amazing new things coming up that'll be launching in 2 weeks to include passive income and also business coaching within our Warrior Academy. So we have cryptocurrency courses. You have access to our leadership team in the cryptocurrency space. We have 7 calls per week to include leadership calls. We also have community, connection, tribe. We're adding business and passive income to our Warrior Academy. So if you left the Warrior Academy, I'd highly recommend you get back in because this is the time. And if you're new to the Warrior Academy, welcome home. All right, let's jump right into it, Warriors. And this, again, this is not a scare tactic. These are facts, figures, numbers, logic. We are in a cycle, an economic cycle that is nothing, economic cycle that is nothing new under the sun. It's nothing new under the sun, Warriors. This is over and over and over again. And I'm going to show you a video from some of my favorite economists, one being Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio talking about, here we are, okay? Now, I've been telling you guys this is coming, and this isn't, please know, this isn't I told you so. This is, I want to protect you guys. I just want to give you information to help you make informed decisions. Now, here's the positive thing that I've been sharing with people. Number one, it's the greatest time in human history to start a business. I'm actually going to be launching my blueprint for free to show you exactly how I scaled 7-figure company, how I did it, and how I'm doing it again with another company. It's not that difficult, Warriors. It's not that difficult with social media. Back in the days, you used to have brick and mortar and capital and all this stuff. With these social media, a microphone and a phone, you can take your knowledge, shorten someone's timeline to success, and you can build a $10,000 a month company, a 6-figure company pretty quickly, Warriors. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that through the blueprint, a free blueprint that I'm going to launch, okay? But JP Morgan, the CEO, Jamie Dimon, says there's a hurricane coming for the U.S. economy, and that you better brace yourself, okay? Now they're all saying cryptocurrency is here to stay and the hurricane is coming for a recession, okay? So Jamie Dimon says JP Morgan is bracing itself for an economic hurricane. So why wouldn't you, Warriors? Why wouldn't you buckle down, cut out your frivolous spending, buy the dip right now in some of these speculative assets like cryptocurrency, stock market. When this thing completely collapses, you guys know I'm going into tech stocks, gas, solar, wind, anything that has to do with zero carbon. And I know, like and trust the company, I am going in on that, Warriors. So I will start to enhance my stock portfolio once I see the stock market come collapsing fully down. Right now, I have my cryptocurrency packed. I'm dollar cost averaging in. I'm holding long term. Got my insurance packed. Got a little bit of silver. And I'm working to scale my businesses as quick as humanly possible, okay? And you can do the exact same thing. So Jamie Dimon says JP Morgan is bracing itself for the economic hurricane. Says Fed's actions, war in Europe created unprecedented challenge. That's the line I wanted you to hear, okay? I'm going to show you the game. He says Fed's actions, which is raising interest rates and stopping the quantitative easing, okay? We've learned all this stuff. War in Europe creating unprecedented challenge. Still too soon to say how intense the storm will be, the CEO says. But Jamie Dimon says the hurricane is coming. Well, he's not the only one in the big elites that are saying this. Okay, this is, I've showed you this lady before. It's Fitzpatrick, excuse me. She's the CIO, which would be Chief Innovation Officer. What is a Chief Investments Officer? Duh. Chief Innovation, the Chief Investments Officer. Who's listening this long here, hippie dude? Chief Investments Officer for the source. So that's even better. The Chief Investment, there is a Chief. What did I say? Anyways, I said Chief Technology Officer. That's CTO. Chief Investment Officer. Okay. This is Fitzpatrick. She's for the Soros Foundation. And if you don't know, they are big players in the investment game. Listen to what she says about they're all getting ready, Warriors. So why would you be sitting back doing nothing?
Reported that the U.S. economy actually shrank in the first quarter of 2022. Do you think this means we're likely to go into a recession?
So when you look at that GDP number, I think the really important point is the reason it shrank is because of net imports, which were negative, which means we're importing a lot of goods from abroad. And that's because consumer and corporate demand is robust. So I think there's a silver lining in the reading of that GDP number. When you think about, there's a lot of discussion about a looming recession. And the bottom line is a recession is inevitable. It's a matter of when.
Okay, so I just want you to hear that. She goes deeper into that. You can take a look at that. So they are all preparing. They are all preparing for a global recession. And the crazy thing is, when I talk about this stuff on TikTok or I bring it up, they shut it down. It's wild, or someone reports it, right? This means it's coming, Warriors. They're letting us know. They don't want you guys to know this type of stuff. I don't give a shit if they shut it down. I'm going to keep sharing this information, okay? Now, we heard from Jamie Dimon, who we trust as far as we can throw him, right? But what are they saying? Recession is coming, okay? So there's something coming. Now, the person I do trust, okay, is Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is a beast in the economic world. And the reason why I love Ray Dalio, because he doesn't just talk out of his ass. He did thousands of hours of research. I'm assuming thousands of hours of research. He's written books about it and studying the cycles of history. And he's probably one of the favorite economists that I know, like, and trust. So check this out.
Ray, I want to turn it back to you. You and Jeremy have described a very difficult environment with a lot of potential for risk and instability. How, as an investor, how should we think about positioning for something like that?
My main things are, first, cash is trash, and that there's in bonds and debt, it's not going to be good, and the claims of financial assets. So either avoid those or position yourselves so that when those things operate, and position yourself for inflation. So there are investments, lots of investments pertaining to inflation. I agree with Jeremy's comments about commodities, and the big commodity cycles are reactive. There's a giant, just like the 40-year bull market in bonds, associates with a commodity cycle where everybody adapts to that. Companies don't hedge. Inventories are drawn down. There's less investment in those things. That when that switches to that kind of an environment. And the big overarching thing is that the amount of financial claims that exist, and there's charts in my that I repeatedly show when I deal with the changing world order. What is the amount of financial claims, assets, relative to real assets? And you could see that through history, when those financial claims, it's like a bank has too many IOUs on its real money and that thing, then you always get into these environments where it's undesirable to own the debt and you have negative real returns. And so to position one's portfolio in a tilt that way. But of course, the way that we do it is to separate alpha and beta, right? So two parts, core, because we're all talking tactical. How do you create a truly well-balanced core portfolio? And we know that the typical well portfolio is not well balanced, with its greatest vulnerability being in that upper right quadrant in our box, which is the inflation box. And we know that we're in that environment. So from a starting point of view, I would encourage all investors to look at that box, those four quadrant box, that box that we have: rising inflation, falling inflation, rising real growth relative to discounted, falling real growth relative to discounted, and see what the biases are in those portfolios. I believe that now you can simultaneously reduce risk and raise returns, reduce risk of that portfolio by having more in that upper right quadrant, rising inflation, and you will reduce your risk, because if you look at your portfolio, typical investor's portfolio, that is the environment that it is missing. So you start with that. How do you get more neutral? How do you get better balanced? And you cover yourself from that exposure. And then you make your tactical moves around it. And the tactical moves, again, should not be in those debts. It should be very well diversified. I think that the social and political conflicts are going to be a big investment thing coming forward. And so that'll mean, and the way I look at it is, I want to look at places that have good income statements and balance sheets. So when I say places, I mean countries, as well as individuals that make up those countries, the individual people and the individual companies. So do they have a good income statement, financial stability? Do they have a good balance sheet so that they can weather those things? And also, it's a sign of their productivity. Are they productive? And then number two, are they civil with each other? I really do believe that internal conflict and bad finances are going to be defining characteristics of where to invest or even where to be. And then if I carry that forward to the third, am I going to have in the risk of being in a international war, an important international war? Because that international war will raise lots of threats. So I want, when I'm picking those locations, I want to be out of those debt instruments, largely minimized on the financials, the inflation hedge assets, well diversified. Look to parts of the world that are not as plagued with this. So emerging Asia is very interesting. India is interesting. So diversify. Look at neutral countries during that period of time. Watch out for government controls on capital markets, because that's the logical next step. History has shown that. Watch out for foreign exchange controls. Could be. Watch out for those things.
Okay, so I'll leave it right there. I could listen to him all day okay, so let me break it into simplistic terms, and this is my perception. Of course, I'm not an economist. Well, you know what? Let's let him explain the value and understanding of cycles of history deal with today. So basically, he talked about economic cycles, and I want you to watch this video. This is gonna be a longer. This will be a short video right here, but a longer overall video, because I want to really let this sink in. I know this is exciting. This isn't Sheba to the moon. This is real deal shit. This is your 401k. This is your life. This is your life savings that you work for, Warriors. You need to diversify. You need to understand. Did you hear what he said? That's why I'm big on companies like Ripple Xrp. Their balance sheet is solid. They're a billion-dollar company. They have an amazing leadership team, real world solve. They're connected in Asia, the Asian countries. They're connecting corridors all over the world. They're not going anywhere, Warriors. That's why I make investments like XLM, XRP, VeChain. The CEOs are solid. The CEO's VeChain travels like 278 days of the year. Solid companies, Warriors, that you want to make your investments in the cryptocurrency space as if you're making them in a regular space like Warren Buffett would be in the stock market. Okay, so let's listen to Ray Dalio's cool little video on economic cycles.
The times ahead will be radically different from those we've experienced in our lifetimes, though similar to many times before. How do I know that? Because they always have been. In order to deal with what's happening today, we must learn the lessons of the past to see that the circumstances we are now facing have in fact happened many times before and fall into a big cycle that repeats over and over again. The most powerful empires in the world followed this cycle for over 500 years. And every time they did, it was a sign of the changing world order.
I highly recommend you go read. Oops, sorry about that, guys. I highly recommend you go read his book, The Changing World Order. I highly recommend you go pay attention to his videos. This is where I get a lot of my education from, is Ray Dalio's videos. And here's the economic cycle that he's talking about. Okay, so you got the financial. So you look at a new world order, right? So then it goes into peace and prosperity and productivity. That's the beautiful thing about this. Once we go into a new world order, we go through peace and prosperity. Financial bubble and wealth gap. Okay, what are we in right now? Massive wealth gap, big financial bubbles, cryptocurrency, housing. We're in a massive, massive bubble right now, an overvalued stock market based on the Warren Buffett indicator because of all the gross domestic or the money pumped into the economy through quantitative easing, which valued companies incorrectly. They're not putting growth into the economy. They have fake money going into their businesses, right? The government bought bonds, junk bonds from those companies, bought debt from them to keep the money cycle going. Then we run into financial bust and economic downturn, which is what we're heading into. The printing of money and credit was what we just went through with the C word. As we look this way with the C word, they started printing money and credit. We're going revolutionary wars. Think about that. debt and political restructuring. So we're right here, right in between right here. We're going into war, right? Ukraine and Russia narrative. And then we're going to go into debt and political restructuring. And then we go back into a new world order. This is exactly where we're heading right now. And through these times, some of the biggest wealth creation is made and some of the most poverty is created. Okay. So Andreessen Horowitz, this is what the big companies are doing. Andreessen Horowitz raises $4.5 billion crypto fund to take advantage of the bargains in a downturn market. Okay. We know that Bill Hinman, who consulted for the SEC, who was part of the SEC, now consults for Andreessen Horowitz what would it be now? $6.7 billion crypto fund. But yeah, why would they be buying crypto? Why would they be buying crypto and buying the dip when you're running out of cryptocurrency? I don't know. You would have to answer that. I just want to tell you, I love you guys. I'm going to keep bringing this information. I don't know if this would be biased or unbiased, but it's just an opinion of a guy who's been studying it all the time. And I feel like I have a good grasp on it. My portfolio is very fundamental. There's some in there that I know are probably going to go to zero, but you have access to my portfolio in the academy, my exact portfolio. You have access to our exit strategy. We're actually launching an exit strategy app coming up this summer that is going to blow people's mind, called Merlin. I highly recommend you go get the 30-day free trial that's coming up. But yeah, we got a lot of cool things coming up. We'd love to have you in the tribe, www.3twarrior.com. Click the description down below to get into the free Discord to get to know, like, and trust us. Don't miss this opportunity. Get inside of our tribe. We're going to guide each other to generational wealth. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go. See you on the other side.